There have been some remarkable performances in NBA history, ranging from insane triple-doubles and the occasional quadruple-double to some out-of-this-world scoring feats. But in today's video, we're going to look at things a little bit differently and dissect some of the weirdest and craziest NBA stat lines that will leave you in disbelief. Starting off this list, we're going back to the 1961-62 season and to a season in which Wilt Chamberlain averaged 48.52 minutes per game. An NBA game lasts for a full 48 minutes over 4 quarters. So how then does a player end up averaging 48.5 minutes per game, you may wonder? Well, in the 1961-62 season, Chamberlain ended up playing a lot of overtime minutes for his team, and thus this wacky minutes per game average was reached. In fact, Chamberlain's 48.52 minutes per game that he clocked up that season ranks as the highest minutes per game averaged by any player in a single NBA season, and he also holds the top 7 spots for most minutes per game in a season in NBA history. Incidentally, the 1961-62 season is also historic for Chamberlain because it was in that very season that he averaged a league best 50.4 points and also recorded the only 100-point game in NBA history. Next up, we have Manute Bol tallying more blocks than points during his career. Most people would know that the 7'7" Manute Bol ranked among the tallest players to ever compete in the NBA. Bol played 10 seasons in the league, playing for teams such as the Washington Bullets, Golden State Warriors, and the Philadelphia 76ers. And to this day, still sits second on the list for most blocks in a single game, tied with Shaquille O'Neal with 15 blocks. Bol achieved this distinction twice, once each in 1986 and 1987. What is more interesting though is that of the 19 players who have tallied more than 2,000 block shots in NBA history, Bol is the only player to have registered more blocks than points. He ranks 16th for blocks in NBA history with 2,086, but has only 1,599 points over the course of his NBA career. The next fewest points anyone has on the 2,000 blocks list is George Johnson, but even Johnson finished with 4,369 career NBA points, twice as many points as his career tally of 2,082 block shots. A truly crazy statistic. Next up, we have Scott Skiles dishing out an NBA record 30 assists. Barring Rajon Rondo's 25 assist game that came while he was playing for the New Orleans Pelicans against the Brooklyn Nets in 2017, no other NBA player has managed to cross the 25 assist mark in a single game in the last 30 years. The last player to register more than 25 assists in a single game was the great John Stockton, the NBA's all-time leader in assists, who tallied 28, 27, and 26 assists in 3 separate games in different seasons. Even Stockton, however, couldn't eclipse point guard Scott Skiles' mark of 30 assists in a single game. Skiles averaged only 6.5 assists for his 10-year NBA career, so it was quite a headliner when he dished out 30 dimes while playing for the Orlando Magic in a game versus the Denver Nuggets on December 30th, 1990. Skiles would also have a double-double in the game by virtue of scoring 22 points to go with his NBA best 30 assists. Not only is this an incredible stat line, but a record which may never be broken, although Tyrese Halliburton could well and truly achieve this feat. Next up on the list we have Cal Bowdler, who remarkably picked up 7 fouls in a single NBA game. Cal Bowdler was the 17th overall pick in the 1999 NBA draft. He played only 3 seasons in the NBA, logging 142 regular season games for the Atlanta Hawks, where he averaged 3 points per game and 9.7 minutes per game over his career. Unimpressive numbers to say the least. But Bowdler has consigned himself to NBA history for one significant record. He holds the distinction for recording 7 personal fouls in an NBA game. You may ask, how is that possible when the personal foul count is limited to 6? Well, in a game played between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Atlanta Hawks on November 13th, 1999, Bowdler played 15 minutes and notched up 6 fouls, but because the referees forgot how many fouls he had, he was allowed to stay on court. He was tossed only after he committed his 7th foul. Of all the records on this list, this is the one most likely to stay on forever. Next up we have Draymond Green's historic non-scoring triple-double. An NBA triple-double isn't an easy stat line to accomplish. It only happens when a player reaches double figures in any 3 of the 5 major statistical categories: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and block shots. Generally, players notch up a triple-double by hitting double digits in points, rebounds, and assists. But the only time a player has hit a non-scoring triple-double is when the Golden State Warriors' Draymond Green accomplished an 11 rebound, 10 assists, and 10 steal stat line in a game versus the Memphis Grizzlies on the 10th of February 2017. Incidentally, Green scored only 4 points in that game, which was fewer than the number of block shots he registered that night. and had he registered one more point, he would have had a rare 5x5 to go with it, which would have been the second of his career. The Warriors went on to win 122-107, and their head coach Steve Kerr put Green's performance into proper perspective.
That's as dominant a performance as I've ever seen from somebody who scored 4 points, so remarkable performance by Draymond.
Next up is CJ Watson's one game. CJ Watson is not a name many casual fans may remember, and many of you might not have heard of him before. He went undrafted in 2006 before eventually signing with the Golden State Warriors in 2008. He would go on to play in the NBA for close to 10 years for the Warriors, Bulls, Nets, Pacers, and the Magic, and finished his career with averages of 7.2 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. However, he will be remembered forever for one game in particular. In this game, during April of 2013, while playing for the Brooklyn Nets, he faced the Chicago Bulls and would go on to log 1 in all 5 statistical categories, along with 1 turnover, in just over 9 minutes of action. The Bulls won this game by 2 points, 92-90, on the back of a 29-point, 18-rebound performance from Carlos Boozer, but it was Watson's weird stat line that will be most memorable. Next up is Rasual Butler's 0 minutes played but 1 turnover. Rasual Butler was selected by the Miami Heat with the 53rd overall pick in the 2002 NBA draft. He was a reliable threat from outside with his shooting and played on several teams during his NBA career. Butler signed a contract with the Toronto Raptors in December 2011 and spent just over 3 months with the franchise before getting waived. However, while with the Raptors, he would have one of the weirdest stat lines in NBA history. During a game against the Lakers, Butler checked in for the first time to inbound the ball with 4.2 seconds remaining and the Raptors down by 1. However, unable to get the ball in, he was called for a 5-second violation on the inbound. He was taken out immediately afterwards, and since the clock does not start until the ball gets inbounded, he finished the game with 0 minutes of action and 1 turnover. Truly one of, if not the weirdest stat line of all time. Dennis Rodman's 28 rebound 0-point game is up next. Dennis Rodman's career exemplified the mantra know your role, emphasizing defensive prowess and unparalleled rebounding. In a 1993 game against the Charlotte Hornets while with the San Antonio Spurs, Rodman showcased his mastery on the boards, securing a staggering 28 rebounds including 10 offensive boards, despite not scoring a single point. Despite facing formidable opponents in Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning, Rodman's dominance propelled the Spurs to a 92-88 victory. His trade to the Chicago Bulls later on didn't diminish the demonstration of his immense value to any team, consistently giving his all on every possession and out-rebounding opponents larger and stronger than himself. This game would mark one of 7 occasions in Rodman's career where he grabbed 20+ rebounds without registering a single point. Truly a crazy stat line which would definitely look out of place in today's high-scoring NBA. Next up is Russell Westbrook's 2020-20 triple-double game 4 years ago against the Los Angeles Lakers. Russell Westbrook's historic performance in a game against the Lakers marked by 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 21 assists mirrored Wilt Chamberlain's achievement from 1968. The significance went beyond stats though. It occurred shortly after the tragic passing of Westbrook's close friend Nipsey Hussle, impacting the NBA star deeply. Both from LA, they shared a strong connection through charity work and mutual support. Westbrook took time off to mourn Hussle's death but returned with an extraordinary game, dedicating his remarkable stats to his friend. The numbers 20-20-20 held special meaning in connection to the rapper's neighborhood ties with the rolling 60s.
That wasn't for me, man. That was for my bro, man. That's for Nipsey, man. 20 plus 20 plus 20. They know what that means, man. That's for my bro. Rest in peace, Nipsey.
This performance wasn't just about basketball, it served as a tribute to Hustle and revitalized the struggling Thunder team, propelling them to a 5-game winning streak and boosting their playoff prospects. This emotional moment left an enduring impact on NBA and Thunder fans, remembered as a special tribute to a beloved friend amidst a landmark moment. And the final weirdest and craziest stat line on this list is what we refer to here as the cardio games. A cardio game in the NBA is when a player logs an extended amount of minutes and doesn't record a single statistic. Despite this being an extremely rare feat, there are numerous players who've managed it over the years. 25 players to be exact have achieved this crazy stat line in a minimum of 20 minutes of action. The most recent player to have a cardio game is Chicago Bulls guard Ayo Dosunmu. He started and played over 26 minutes but didn't record a single point, rebound, assist, steal, or block. He's one of 3 players in NBA history to log this many minutes without recording any statistics, the others being Tony Snell and Joel Anthony, who takes the cake for the worst cardio game of all time. As far as records go, he's played the longest in a game without putting up any stats. Anthony played 28 minutes and 46 seconds off the bench during his cardio game in 2011 and finished with 1 turnover and 4 fouls. Yet the Heat still won that night, taking down the Portland Trail Blazers by 7 points. Nonetheless, it's safe to say that his stat line is one of the wildest in NBA history and a fitting way to round out our list of some of the weirdest and craziest stat lines of all time. Let us know in the comments what we missed out on and what other stat lines over the course of NBA history, obvious or not, blew your minds and left you scratching your heads. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the Bench Mob for more videos like this and to help us on the path to 5,000 subscribers. For now though, this has been your boy Danko from the Bench Mob signing off, and I wish you guys all the success in 2024.